G'day, it's Adam Hills here with the Mental Health Australia Heads Up with the chair of Beyond Blue and my old mate, Julia Gillard. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Adam. How are you?
I'm fine. Listen, before we get on to the professional stuff, how has all of this affected you personally?
Well, I'm grounded, like a teenager sent to their room. I came back from London in mid-March, and by now I should have been on several overseas trips doing my work with the Global Institute for Women's Leadership in London and the Global Partnership for Education, which supports developing countries and school education around the world. But instead, I'm at home in Adelaide, Australia. So I suspect this is the longest time I've spent on the ground in Adelaide since I lived here as a university student before I moved to Melbourne to become Vice President of the Australian Union of Students way back when, at the start of the 1980s. So it is kind of good to be in your own bed every night, and the last few days the weather has been beautifully kind, winter sunshine, and I live very near the beach, so I get to go out on the beach every day, so no complaints from me at all.
Have you found yourself doing those little strange things that I've found? I filled my car up with petrol yesterday for the first time in about 3 months.
Yes, not so much that, but I am noticing that, clearly the life I've lived, I've needed to have clothes for doing public speeches in and big events and sometimes even black tie things and all the rest of it. And day after day after day, I find myself wearing basically the same 3 or 4 casual things because, why would you change much? You're here doing Zoom, so people can only see that bit of you. So as long as you're presentable from there up, good enough. I don't think I've had anything that would look like proper shoes on for quite a long time now.
And so how much work are you getting to do at home at the moment?
Well, actually, it's been really busy, and one of the reasons it's been busy is the chairing of Beyond Blue. The team there has had to do an incredible surge to meet the mental health needs at this time of the pandemic, which of course is giving rise to mental health issues as people experience the stresses and strains. We've had, comparing year on year, as big as 60% increases. We've had 500,000 Australians reach out to the coronavirus mental wellbeing support line and service. So there's a lot going on. For me, obviously, I'm not doing the day-to-day work. That's done by Georgie Harmon, the incredible CEO, and the team that she leads. But it does mean that the board has had to keep a good eye, and particularly at the start when we were designing the new service, there was a lot to do. So I'm, kept busy by that. Also kept busy because the Global Partnership for Education has surged in its own way because poorer countries have got closed schools as well. And we know from earlier epidemics like Ebola that without special support, the most marginalised kids, particularly the most marginalised girls, will never make it back to school. So we're trying to avoid that this time. And then I've been working on finishing a book that I've got coming out in July. So, many days it seems the circumference of my world is this laptop screen that I'm looking at now, but it does mean I can get a lot of work done.
I did a comedy show the other night. It was the first time I'd been in a room full of 20 people. And whenever someone spoke to me, I almost was waiting for the yellow box around their head to illuminate so that I knew they were the ones speaking.
You can't put them on mute.
No, sadly not. And that's a question that I had for you is that, we're coming out of lockdown and we're coming back into facing the real world. But I did find it quite confronting to be in a room full of even 6 or 7 people. And then every now and then I had to take myself off because I literally haven't been surrounded by that many people. So what are the challenges that people are facing at the moment?
Yeah, I think there's really a lot in that. I'm shortly to go to Sydney to do some publicity associated with the book. And I've got it in my head as this really big thing. I'm going to the airport and I'm getting on a plane and I'm going to be staying in a hotel. And for a person for whom, life for the last, 2 or 3 decades, getting on a plane and doing a trip interstate or overseas has been almost as routine as having a cup of coffee. For this to be looming so large in my mind just tells you how we adjust, and then we've got to readjust. And I think people are going to have to take that at their own pace. You know, don't be surprised in line with your experience that it's not all kind of happy times because we're back out there, but it does have this sense of, you know, going back out there and maybe needing a moment of retreat. I think that will be a perfectly normal experience.